if Kyle Pitts is on the move, these are two teams each that we think need to go after him. My first one, Dallas Cowboys. It's the easiest one. Their tight end room is decent right now, but we keep talking about how the Cowboys need more explosiveness. I think throwing Kyle Pitts, someone like him, into the slot as a big-bodied slot, as we keep talking about where he needs to be utilized instead of as an inline tight end, just let him go up there, boss up, and make plays in the red zone. You've got him, you've got George Pickens, and you've got CeeDee Lamb. That turns into a really talented grouping of players that can all play off of one another. Dallas Cowboys, Jerry Jones, if this is real and this is a possibility and Atlanta's actually thinking about doing this, pick up the damn phone, Jerry. How many times do we got to say this? Whenever there's a receiver, a tight end, a big-name player available in free agency, in the trade markets, we got to stop talking about it. Jerry just needs to pick up the damn phone, make the damn phone call. Even if it's for a second-round pick, I would still make that call and I would make the move.
I think it would be smart of them. Jerry doesn't like picking up that phone. He would help Dallas, but additionally, is Kyle Pitts the type of player that is able to get carved up by Dallas Cowboys fans after they start blaming him for everything once they...
Has he shown softness? Like, has he done that in Atlanta? I feel like he's kind of quiet. You don't really hear anything from him.
He is quiet, but he plays a little soft, and that's because he's not a traditional hard-nosed blocking tight end.
What a non-homer.
Well,
I wonder who's the Falcons fan.
I'm shipping him off somewhere soft with my first pick in a moment, but it would be fun. Honestly, we have gotten to such Cowboys lack of moves fatigue outside of the George Pickens signing that a trade that it would be a delight just to see them actually make a move. Like any move that they make, I think I would say, oh, that's good. At least they did something. At least they woke up a little bit and decided to take a risk, aside from just cashing checks on fans showing up for 9-win season, 8-win season. Like, that's just too boring, and they got way too in the thick of all that. So if Dallas made a move, I think it should be celebrated, even though they will carve that dude up. My first trade destination, Kyle Pitts, smooth, silky, tall, athletic tight end that he's not going to be catching passes 60 yards downfield because that's what burner small wide receivers are for. You need someone that could be a real game breaker from the 10-yard to 30-yard throwing aspects or distances. And I think there's a quarterback in this league in a city that is so soft that it would cater perfectly for Kyle Pitts, and that's Miami. And that's where I think Tua Tagovailoa can actually thrive, is having a safety net.
Can he throw it that high?
Here's the thing. You have the tallest wingspan in the NFL in Kyle Pitts, the longest wingspan.
I just don't know if he can reach him.
I think he'd be able to reach him. I think I've seen Tua throw plenty of hospital balls, bad passes that sail over Waddle's head and over Tyreek's head and whoever else they throw out to catch passes in that super awful, lukewarm, vanilla offense. Kyle Pitts would thrive here because I don't think Tua has ever had a real safety blanket or safety net receiving option in his career. Jonnu Smith this year was a Pro Bowler in Miami, and it felt like it was the first time he had ever had a real tight end. And this is Jonnu Smith. He's good, but you were never going to mention his name in the same reverency as Kyle Pitts or high drafted tight ends. He's a very good tight end. But if you gave Tua a real option that isn't throw it deep to Tyreek, or I have to be perfectly accurate on this 15 and out, this corner route to Waddle, and it's just a big guy that can take up some space and maybe be a vacuum for him, I think it would turn Tua around a little bit. It's too much home run or perfect precision needed in that Miami offense.
So I'm just confirming. You're assuming that they would trade Jonnu if they did that?
I'd take Jonnu back. I'd do a regular swap, but Jonnu was already being pitched they're taking or fielding calls about Jonnu Smith right now.
My only thing with that, though, is if it seems like part of the reason why they're taking calls is because they don't want to pay him. So I just don't know if they'd want to pay Kyle Pitts because they think they'd get more out of Kyle Pitts. It's an interesting thought. This does feel like a Mike McDaniel type of a guy that he would just want to bring him in, trade Jonnu because something's the relationship gets burnt. You get a late day 2, early day 3 pick, and then you use that pick to go get Kyle Pitts. I don't know how much wheeling and dealing would be happening there, but they don't have a good tight end option, and Jonnu Smith was one of their most productive just weapons this past year. So it's a decent one. My other one, Los Angeles Chargers, They need a dynamic playmaking tight end. I've said this a million times over. It's been the weirdest part of the Chargers offseason that they have not secured like an explosive, productive, reliable tight end option, knowing that Harbaugh has always emphasized tight ends every single place that he's gone. When he was at Stanford, they had multiple. When he was with the 49ers, Vernon Davis was already there, but he still maximized him and got the most out of him in his career. I think that this could be almost the, similar sense to where Vernon Davis, he has his best time under Harbaugh. We end up getting the best out of Kyle Pitts here playing for Harbaugh, getting reemphasized as that premier tight end and being creative with using him. I just think that they need another weapon. I saw posts this weekend that were like sources believe that Quentin Johnston has looked the best that he's ever looked. Kyle Pitts and Quentin Johnston would be perfect together.
Dude,
with shit like that happening.
Okay. They'd be perfect for the NFL burner accounts, the Harbaugh Muse and
right.
and Icy Najee or all these, it's great for the 17-year-olds that like clipping out bad plays and for Twitter, which is a lot of where I think people consume their football takes nowadays is from these burner accounts with thousands of followers. I think it could work. It's similar to, in the same vein of the Cowboys, where I wouldn't be opposed to the Chargers adding because they have legitimate bones. If you're a team with bones, I'm going to suggest you actually make plays because you know how fickle this NFL gambit is and how quickly it can all disappear. One quarterback injury, your season's cooked. But if you can surround a team, you put a full 22 together, you got a shot. And the Chargers are getting close to that, and they have the right head coach to have a full 22. Maybe Harbaugh could toughen up Pitts. I don't think he's a lost cause yet when it comes to his physicality or play style. And maybe getting him out of soft ass Atlanta could help him, because Atlanta, while I crush Miami often, is equally as baby soft, a baby diaper full soft as the Miami Dolphins.
I'm already rejecting the last one that you put in here because you think that he's going to get traded in the division.
Yeah. I would hope so. This is my first pitch for Kyle Pitts to Miami was, get out of my face, Kyle Pitts. I'm sick of watching you underperform. I'm going to ship you off to Siberia, aka Miami, and hopefully you thrive. But I'm not going to think about you much.
That's a real awful just place to disappear, Miami.
Well, it's one of the worst.
Oh man, that would just be.
You can't ignore that it's one of the worst football towns that the NFL
shipped
has.
off to Miami. God,
is it
beautiful.
Is it or is it not a bad?
I don't
town?
think anyone gives a shit.
Exactly.
I think
bad football.
No. I'm saying that I don't think anyone gives a shit if. There could be one person in the stands. If I get paid millions of dollars to live in Miami with low income tax, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
Sure. It'll be especially low after he gets paid $3.2 million.
Okay.
That'd be great. I'm sure you're a $50 million tight end, Kyle Pitts. I'm sure. My second option, let's get some youth in the best running team in the NFC South for the last 5 years. We are aging out of Mike Evans. We are aging out of Chris Godwin. The Emeka Egbuka, cool. That's going to be good. He could be a piece for the future to become a wide receiver 1 or a very solid wide receiver 2 one day. Exciting running back in Bucky Irving. By now, you probably know I'm mentioning and bringing up the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who right now, tight end 1. Anyone in the back? Anyone? Cade Otton. Cade Otton. Yes, Cade Otton.
You don't like Cade Otton?
What does Cade Otton do for me? Cade Otton gets me a great third quarter touchdown. Cade Otton can chip and work up to a linebacker sometimes and clear a rushing lane. Cade Otton doesn't blow a game open. Cade Otton isn't a zone breaker or a mismatch generator. Cade Otton is a good NFL tight end and would be a perfect tight end 2. He really would be, because he's got the finesse hands, he's got the ability to run routes, and he's a grinder in the run game. Pair him with an explosive tight end in explosive air quotes tight end in Kyle Pitts, and maybe you're cooking with gas a little bit, and you are fleshing out an offense on the off chance that Mike Evans gets hurt, or we see more and wear and tear with Godwin, and he has to take a reduced role because age is a thing in the NFL. No matter the fact that Tampa Bay has been sort of the pseudo fountain of youth, where they keep getting terrific production out of these old veterans. It's time to start getting young again. I wouldn't mind seeing Kyle Pitts on a competent franchise.
You always, whenever we do these trade destination segments, you always pitch me with a good one. And then you pitch me the
Oh, come
Buccaneers,
on.
like the one that doesn't make any sense.
Bucks would be great with this guy.
I just realized Garrett Green is on the Bucks roster, but as a receiver. I didn't know he was that athletic. He was a decent athlete. I don't know if you know who Garrett Green is.
Was he the TCU tight end? Was he the big sturdy?
No. He was a quarterback at West Virginia last year.
Yes.
Blake and I got into this whole thing where we did our preview, and then West Virginia fans went as far as to threaten Blake's family because he said he's not accurate because he was under 60% completion percentage. Lo and behold, he was so inaccurate, Neil Brown got fired.
Oh, no.
So Blake still takes victory laps over that, which if I was him, I would be doing that every single chance that I had to be like, hey, you dipshits were so awful to me, and I still ended up being right. That is the most random thing that I realized, that Garrett Green is a receiver for the Buccaneers, apparently. All right,
but you can't. Will you at least accept the fact that Tampa Bay with Kyle Pitts, if it could work, if they could get him, that it would make that puzzle piece would work in.
I just don't think he gets traded in the division. I just don't think that in a vacuum. Yeah, I think
I work in the dream world. I hopefully the listening audience understands that we have somebody that likes to make sense and work through all the actual legitimate possibilities.